Sidney, as Chadron, their head coach John McLean, they come in with a record of 1-0. They beat Mitchell last night 39-36. Macy Daniels led the way with 14 points, and Jaylee McCartney had 7. In that game over Mitchell last night, they led 9-2 after the first. Mitchell outscored Chadron in the second 10-7, but trailed 16-12 at half. Mitchell outscored Chadron 7 in the third, 17-7, but they led 29-26 going to the fourth quarter. But Chadron, with a 16-7 fourth quarter, they came away with the win last night. As we said, Macy Daniels had 14 points. Jaylee McCartney had 7. For the Sidney Lady Raiders, their head coach is Tyler Shaw. They are 0-1. Or check that, 1-0, I should say, as they beat Gehring 55-52 last night. Sidney trailed after one 15-14, but they outscored Gehring 14-8 in the second quarter to lead 28-23 at the half. In the third quarter, the game was tied 3 times as Gehring outscored Sidney 15-12 in the third quarter, but they trailed after 3, 42-38. The game was tied at 47 in the fourth. Gehring led 52-50, but Sidney went on a 5-0 run down the stretch in the fourth quarter to get the win for the Sidney Lady Raiders. Carly Sylvester with 14 points for the Lady Raiders last night, and Reagan Biesecker had 13 points for the Sidney Lady Raiders. The game that just wrapped up, Gehring will move on to play for third place tomorrow as they defeated Alliance 67-21. Glad you could be with us here this evening on KNEB.TV, Allo Channel 15, as we're getting set for this second game of 3 here in day 2 of the Western Conference Tournament. Well, let's take a break, and we'll come back with the starting lineups in the opening tip as you're watching the Western Conference Tournament on KNEB.TV.
Coverage of the 2020 Western Conference Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Shelter Insurance Agent Travis Hawk, Panhandle Co-op, Paul Reed Construction, and by Ideal Linen.
Many people count on space heaters and electric blankets to help stay warm in the winter. Here are a few safety tips. Space heaters need space all around them. Only buy space heaters that are tested and labeled by a national recognized facility. Before using a space heater or electric blanket, inspect the cord for cracks or warm spots. Finally, turn off electric blankets when not in use. Space heaters and electric blankets can provide needed comfort or can be deadly if not used with care. So use caution this winter season. This message is brought to you by Chimney Rock Public Power District, your touchstone energy partner, the power of human connections.
And welcome back. Scottsbluff High School, Chadron and Sidney, our game. And take a look at our starting lineups. For Sidney, they will start this way. It'll be Brenna Ross, a 5'2 junior, Morgan Jaggers, a 5'8 senior, Reagan Biesecker, a 5'9 senior. Jersey Missigatis, a 5'7 senior. And Carly Sylvester, a 6-foot senior. For Chadron, it'll be J.C. Garrett, Demi Ferguson, a 5'9 freshman, Lainey Klemke, along with Macy Daniels, and here's our national anthem. And our national anthem here tonight, prior to this game between Sidney and Chadron. Both teams coming in with 1-0 records on the evening. As we start to give you the Chadron starting lineups, let's give it to you again. J.C. Garrett, a 5'3 junior. Demi Ferguson, a 5'9 freshman. Lainey Klemke, a 5'8 sophomore. Macy Daniels, a 5'10 junior. And Annika Burke, a 6'2 senior for Chadron. So there is your starting lineup for the Chadron Cardinals, as Sidney will be the road team in the black uniforms here tonight, and Chadron will be the home team in the home white uniforms. Carly Sylvester being introduced, and so it'll be now time for the Chadron Cardinals as getting ready for the opening tip, and our opening tip is brought to you by Papa Murphy's Pizza at 2801 Avenue B in Scottsbluff. It's love at 425 degrees. And don't forget to register for the Papa Murphy's Text Club for a sweet deal. So the winner of this game will move on to tomorrow's championship game. That'll be played at 2 o'clock at Gehring High School. All of the 5th place, 3rd place, and championship games for the girls will be played here, or I should say at Gehring, and all of on the boys' side, those games will be played here at Scottsbluff High School as we're ready for action here. Glad you'll be with us here on KNEB.TV. And Annika Burke will jump it up against Carly Sylvester to get this one underway here. As the toss is up and it's controlled in the backcourt by the Lady Raiders. Here's Brenna Ross with it on the dribble out front, high post to Sylvester. Spin move against Burke, nothing doing, and traveling called on Carly Sylvester. Sylvester had 15 points last night in the 55-52 win over Gehring, and Gehring has moved on in the tournament as they defeated Sidney 67-21 in the game just prior to this at the Sidney end as they work from right to left. J.C. Garrett has it, bounce pass on top to Ferguson. Here's Abby Seymour, who's getting the start here tonight for Sidney, along with Jaylee McCartney. Top of the key. Here's Annika Burke with a 17-foot jumper. And makes it 2-0. Chadron. at the Sidney end. Missigate driving, trying to dish to Morgan Jaggers. And that's thrown out of bounds. It'll be Chadron ball. J.C. Garrett into the front court. Gives it up to Seymour. Here's Garrett on the right side. Another new bounce out on top. Back to Jaylee McCartney. Picked up there by Ross. She'll find Seymour. Quickly to Ferguson. Ferguson top of the key. Takes it down the left lane. Into the paint. And no shot. And she'll be called for traveling. Turnover gives it back to the Sidney Lady Raiders. They trail it 2-0. Here's Biesecker with it on the right wing, top of the key. Sylvester, 3-ball on the way. Too strong. Ferguson comes down with the rebound for Chadron. Quickly head to J.C. Garrett up the floor for Chadron. Seymour with it, the baseline. Garrett driving, cut off, throw it out on top. Seymour, 3-ball, front iron. Run down by Chadron. Dump it inside, Burke, kick out, J.C. Garrett. Left side, Garrett driving, bouncing right side. Ferguson to McCartney. Working on the right side. Here's Ferguson for a 3-ball. Demi Ferguson with 3. 5-0. Chadron with an early lead. 5:48 left here in the first quarter. Biesecker with it, and once again, top of the key. Here's Carly Sylvester with it. She'll hold the ball. Call out Jaggers. Jaggers on the dribble, left side, down the lane line, cut off, and she called for traveling. That'll turn the ball back to Chadron. And a line change for the Sidney Lady Raiders as Katie Ramsey checks in along with Reese Riddle, Gabby Fortner, Emily Weiser, and Katie Ramsey. Garrett with the ball for Chadron. She's tied up. That ball stolen away. Long down court pass tipped into the air, but Ramsey pulls it down. Sidney quickly the other way. Weiser with it. They go inside to Fortner. Her turnaround doesn't go. Gets her own rebound and puts it back up and in. Fortner makes it 5-2. Chadron by 3. Garrett top of the key. Seymour on the left side. Burke pops out. Back to J.C. Garrett on the right wing. On the dribble to the freshman, Jaden McCartney. McCartney takes it left side. Looking. She'll find Seymour on the right side. Seymour looks down low, finds Burke cutting to the basket, and Annika Burke with her 4th point. 7-2. Chadron on top over Sidney. Reagan Stanley also into the Sidney lineup. Weiser at the free throw line tries to dish down low. Pass knocked away, intended for Fortner. Garrett the other way. Garrett holding Seymour on the right side. Burke comes out high post. Once again, Garrett left side. Top of the key. McCartney inside the arc. Shot comes up just a little bit short. That'll be Sidney ball. And a semi-line change for Chadron as Macy Daniels checks in along with Nora Wickler. Sidney leads it. Chadron, I should say, leads it 7-2. High pass in the corner to Weiser on the right side. She has to pull it down and find Reese Riddle. Ball fake. Katie Ramsey takes into the paint and draws the foul. And the foul was on McKinley Fuller. That'll be the first on her, first team. So Sidney will inbound underneath their own basket. Lob comes out on top. Picked up there by Stanley. Ramsey on the left side with the ball. Finds Stanley on the wing. Bounce entry inside. It's knocked away. And a foul will be on McKinley Fuller, and she quickly picks up her 2nd personal foul. 2nd team foul on, and now another line change for Sidney as the starting 5 come back in. And they will inbound underneath their own basket. Jaggers looking. Toss comes out on top to Ross. High post. Sylvester spins to the basket. Pocket picked by J.C. Garrett. Garrett up the floor on the run out. Splits defenders. Shot comes up just a little bit short. Ross comes down with the rebound. Ahead to Biesecker. She can't find the handle. Ball's loose on the floor. And the alternating possession will give the ball to Chadron. So Chadron will have it, leading 7-2 here with 3:24 left in the first quarter. Garrett into the offensive zone for Chadron. Pass to Daniels on the right side. They'll go inside to Ferguson. Ferguson drives baseline, cut off, but she gets called for double dribble. And the turnover gives it back to Sidney. Sidney in the black uniforms here tonight. Ross on the dribble. Work it to Jaggers. Ross with it. Misigatis on the wing, left side, pulls it down. Back to Ross for a 3-ball. Count it for Brenna Ross. And we've got a 2-point ball game at 7-5. Nora Wickler on the wing to Daniels. Here's Ferguson on the right side to Burke. Free throw line extended to Daniels for a 3-ball. Misses the mark. Long rebound by Sylvester. The outlet pass. Ross, another 3 on the way. That's off the mark into the hands of J.C. Garrett. Chadron comes the other way up the right side. Garrett. Here's Wickler with it. Burke looking down inside, trying to look for Ferguson. And the pass goes through her hands out of bounds. And it'll be Sidney ball. And substitutions as Jaylee McCartney checks back in. Micah Fuller in for Chadron, and a timeout on the floor. 2:22 left first quarter. 7-5. Chadron leads it here on the West Coast scoreboard.
Our Black Friday sale is back at Renewal by Anderson of Wyoming for 15 days only. Receive 20% off every replacement window with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 18 months. So keep your cash and spend ours. Purchase 3 windows and get a $500 Visa card. Purchase 4 to 7 windows and get an $800 Visa card. Or get a $1,500 Visa card when you purchase 8 to 12 windows. Hurry, this offer is only available from November 27th through December 11th. Merry Christmas to you from Renewal by Anderson of Wyoming. Call 307-215-7493.
Are you looking for the perfect place to hold a wedding, family reunion, holiday office party, or business meeting? Well, look no further. The Hampton Inn and Suites Hotel and Conference Center is just the place for you. We're a full-service banquet facility that can host up to 400 of your guests. Stop in and see our spacious open-concept meeting rooms and begin planning your special event or family gathering today. Let us do the work for you so you can enjoy your guests. For personal service, stop by the Hampton Inn and Suites front desk.
Back here at Scottsbluff High School, out of the timeout, Sidney with the ball. Ross to Jaggers, top of the key, back to Ross, ball tipped in the air. Ross has to run it down, high pass to Sylvester, looking inside for Biesecker. That's knocked away as Klemke picks the loose ball up for Chadron. Gets it ahead to McCartney. McCartney looking for Burke, nothing there. Gets the ball back, starts to drive, cut off. Annika Burke for a 3 from the right wing, and Burke drains a 3. She's got 7. Chadron 10-5. Quickly Sidney the other way. Jaggers trapped in the corner, looking. Nice double team. They find Ross. Misigatis to the right side. Biesecker will launch a 3. Misses everything. Sylvester with the rebound put back. Carly Sylvester, her first points of the game. Make it 10-7. McCartney, the behind the back dribble, drives into the paint, bounces baseline. Out on top, here's Daniels. Klemke on the dribble. It's knocked out of her hands by Jaggers. It'll remain, and another line change for Sidney. And Chadron will have the ball at their offensive end. Klemke on the dribble finds Daniels. They go inside to Ferguson. Kick out back to Daniels for 3. too strong. Rebound tipped around, and then a foul called on Lainey Klemke. That'll be her first. And the third team foul on Chadron as JC Garrett checks into the Chadron lineup for Jaylee McCartney. McCartney just a freshman, 5'8". 1 minute left here in the first quarter. Sidney with the ball, they throw it away. Klemke picks up the loose ball up the right side. Kicks it inside to Ferguson, and Ferguson lays it up and in. Ferguson with 43 seconds left. And palming called on Katie Ramsey for the Lady Raiders. And the ball will go over to Chadron. They've got a 5-point lead. They'd like to expand that before the end of the first quarter as Garrett walks it across the 10-second line. Finds Klemke looking inside, nothing there. Here's Garrett, 3-ball on the way, count it. J.C. Garrett, her first 3 of the game, and Chadron with an 8-point lead. Weiser tries to get a pass inside. It's batted around. Loose ball picked up by Chadron. Garrett with it. 16 seconds left. Quickly, Daniels, 3 left side off the front iron. Loose ball on the floor. Rebound picked up by Sidney. On the run out, Reagan Stanley can't make the layup. But Reese Riddle with the rebound and the putback that doesn't go, but she's fouled and she'll go to the line to shoot 2. Lainey Klemke picks up her second personal foul, 4th team on Chadron. Lady Raiders without a team foul here in this first 8 minutes with 4 seconds left. And Riddle off on the first one. Riddle just a sophomore as Annika Burke, Abby Seymour checking in for Chadron. 15-7. Chadron by 8. Second free throw in and out. Burke runs it down. 2 seconds left. Ferguson at the buzzer. Off the mark. Doesn't go. And at the end of the first quarter, Chadron with an 8-point lead, 15-7 over Sidney on the West Coast scoreboard.
Coverage of the 2020 Western Conference Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Elite Physical Therapy, FNBO, A. Elliott Law, Northfield Retirement, and by Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gearing.
Welcome back to Scottsbluff High School. Jeff Kelly with you as we start the second quarter between Chadron and Sidney, and Chadron with an 8-point lead. One final from the boys' side as Chadron defeated Sidney 47-40 was the final score there. Sidney with the ball as we start this second quarter. Ross top of the key, Biesecker beyond the arc, cross-court pass back to Missigatis. Here's Jaggers on the dribble, cut off, ball tied up as Ferguson ties up Jaggers, and the held ball will give the ball to Chadron. J.C. Garrett into the front court. West into the ball game for Chadron. She's got it on the left side, and she gets called for traveling. That'll give it back to Sidney. Chadron, the home team here in this second game of the day on day 2 of the Western Conference Tournament. First game of the day went to Gehring, 67-21 over Alliance. So Alliance will play for 5th place. And we've got a 30-second timeout called by Sidney head coach Tyler Shaw. Well, Logos is your home for all your screen printing and embroidery needs. Shop the showroom or have something custom made at Logos, 1344 10th Street in Gering. And once again, like to thank our sponsors allowing us to bring these games to you on KNEBiggie.tv here. All 18 games of this Western Conference tournament will be televised on KNEB.tv, Allo Channel 15 for here at Scottsbluff High School, and Channel 190 for the games at Gering High School. B&C Steel, Buyers Realty, WNCC, and Extreme Dents, just a few of those sponsors. Will give you more as the game goes on. Back to the action. J.C. Garrett bounces high post. Ferguson leaves it for Seymour to the basket, and Abby Seymour with her first points of the game. And Chadron opens up a 10-point lead here just underway. Second quarter, Missigatis with a 3-ball front iron. Burke pulls down the rebound, and then she's fouled by Carly Sylvester. And Sylvester fouled out of the game yesterday against Gering with 10 seconds left, but she finished with 15 points in the 55-52 win over Gering. Chadron with the ball. Here's Ferguson, top of the key to Burke, inside the arc. Burke bumped by Sylvester, no foul called. Out on top, Garrett with it. On the dribble, picked up by Jaggers. Here's West with it on the right side. We'll quickly work it left side, back to Seymour. West inside to Ferguson along the baseline, and tried to cut it baseline to Garrett on the pass, and it goes out of bounds as a wholesale substitution checking in for the Sidney Lady Raiders. Sidney trailing by 10. They bring it into the front court. Reagan Stanley works it to Ramsey. Back to Weiser for a 3-ball. And Burke pulls down the rebound. She's fouled from behind by Gabby Fortner. Let's double check it. Yeah, Gabby Fortner picks up her first personal. And now Sidney with 2 team fouls. Jaylee McCartney back into the Chadron lineup. Garrett into the offensive end. Burke pops out. High post. 2 dribbles. They'll give it up to Garrett on the right side. Ferguson quickly to McCartney. McCartney holding back to Garrett. Garrett dribbles left side. Through a screen. Back to Burke. Whip it inside. Pass for Garrett along the baseline right side. Nothing doing. Almost thrown away as Ferguson lines it up for a 3, and she rattles her. Check that. Macy Daniels rattles it in for Chadron. They lead it 20-7, a 13-point advantage for the Lady Cardinals with 5.5 minutes left here in the first half. Katie Ramsey for the Lady Raiders, top of the key. Holds the ball above her head, looks down low, pass intended for Riddle, knocked away as Stanley picks up the loose ball. She'll lay it up and in and draw the foul. So that will put Reagan Stanley, the sophomore, at the free throw line. And the foul was on Demi Ferguson, so Reagan Stanley at the free throw line as Micah Fuller checks in for Chadron. As Reagan Stanley converts on the traditional 3-point play, and that makes it a 10-point Chadron advantage at 20-10 here with 5:17 left in the first half. Deep pass, look down low for Ferguson. Her layup too strong, and the rebound tipped around, knocked out of bounds. It'll remain at the Chadron end. Chadron to inbound, baseline right, quickly into Garrett. Quick trigger on the shot, just off the mark. Rebound, long down court pass to Reagan Stanley for the Lady Raiders, and Stanley lays it up and in, and she's got 5 quick points. And Sidney chipping away. They now trail by 8. Chadron with the ball. Here's Daniels. 3 off the mark. Rebound by Ferguson. Back to Daniels. Another 3 ball off the mark. Fortner comes down with the rebound. Long down court pass. Reagan Stanley with it. To the right side. Ramsey 3 ball front iron. Garrett comes down with it on the push. Ball knocked away. Loose ball picked up by Sidney. Reese Riddle trying to hit Fortner on the left side. Goes out of bounds. It'll go over to Chadron, I should say. Klemke checking back into the Chadron lineup. Jaylee McCartney also back in, along with Wickler. Full court pressure by Sidney. McCartney gets the inbounds pass, gets it ahead to Klemke, and Klemke traveled on her way to the basket. Another turnover, and it's Sidney's ball, trailing 20-12 here with 4 minutes and 11 seconds left in the first half. Weiser with the ball on the right side, gives it up to Fortner for a 3. That misses everything. Stanley saves it from going out of bounds, but right in the hands of Annika Burke. And Chadron will have it. Klemke in the backcourt, almost has it stolen away. Burke gets it into the Chadron offensive end. Ferguson puts it on the floor, left baseline. Kick out on the right side as Klemke shuffles her feet. And the turnover gives it back to the Lady Raiders. Chadron led 15-7 at the end of the first quarter. Katie Ramsey in the offensive end for Chadron. Finds Weiser, look down low. Fortner in close, can't convert. As McCartney comes out of there with the rebound, they'll get it ahead to Klemke, to Burke. McCartney inside to Ferguson on the low block, and Ferguson fouled down low by Reese Riddle. Keep the ball at the Chadron end. And the line change for Sidney as McKinley Fuller and J.C. Garrett back in for the Chadron High Lady Cardinals. They will inbound underneath their own basket. Daniels looking, the toss, the pass picked off. Nobody there for Chadron. Jaggers on the left side. Brings it top of the key to B. Secker for the attempt for 3 off the backboard. She gets her own rebound. Out on top, Ross. She'll go from bonus distance. That doesn't go. Rebound tipped around, loose on the floor. Jaggers runs it down in the corner. Ross with it. Missigatis looking inside. They'll get it inside to Sylvester against Burke. Shot doesn't go, but she gets her own rebound and puts it back up and in. Nice defense by Annika Burke. But Sylvester able to get the rebound. And Garrett fouled by Morgan Jaggers. Abby Seymour will check in. That's the first on Morgan Jaggers, 4th team foul on the Lady Raiders. Macy Daniels back also in for the Chadron High Lady Cardinals. Inbounds comes backcourt. J.C. Garrett high post to Fuller. Back to Garrett at the free throw line. Shot partially blocked into the hands of Ross. Ross on the push up the floor. Lob inside to Sylvester. She's triple teamed. Get it to Jagger. She starts a drive. Ball stolen away as she goes to the floor, and Chadron controls with 2 minutes, 10 seconds left here in the first half. Seymour has it tipped away from her on the right side. And Sophia West into the Chadron lineup. And Lady Cardinals will inbound far sideline. Quickly into Garrett, and Garrett has it knocked away from her. So Chadron will inbound underneath their own basket. Quickly into Garrett. Garrett will get a screen from Burke at the free throw line on the pick and roll. Ball knocked away from Burke. Picked up by Missigatis. Up the left side, here's Sylvester. Pull-up jumper in the paint, doesn't go. And Chadron will come down with the rebound with 1:49 left here in the first quarter. Burke at the free throw line. Quickly to Garrett. Garrett against Jaggers. Bounce it to Fuller on the right side. Inside they go down low to Burke against Sylvester. The turnaround goes in for Annika Burke. She's got 9 to make it 22-14. We'll take the timeout as Chadron leads at 22-14 on the West Coast scoreboard.
Some people think Allstate only protects your car. Here's the truth. Allstate can also protect your home or apartment, as well as your boat, motorcycle, RV, and snowmobile, and even your retirement and your life. Not many insurance companies can say that, but Allstate can.
Bundle and save with Allstate. In Gearing, call Allstate agent Michael Inglehop for a quote today at 308-436-2123.
You may look forward to spending the seasons with family in your home, but not when these critters come knocking on your door. That's where Benzel Pest Control saves the day. Family owned since 1976, we provide prompt, professional, and efficient services to keep your home or business safe and secure all year round.
With 3 generations and more than 4 decades of service to the Nebraska Panhandle and Southeast Wyoming, Benzel Pest Control is the only name in all seasons pest defense.
Back at Scottsbluff High School, 22-14 our score. I'd like to thank some of our other sponsors bringing these games to you on KNEB.TV. They include Runza Restaurant, The Zone at Scottsbluff Screen Printing, John's Body Shop, and Chimney Rock Chiropractic. Sidney with the ball. Here's Sylvester against Burke to the basket. And Sylvester with 4 points here in this second quarter makes it 22-16. Chadron lead's been cut to 6. They led by as many as 10 in the first quarter. J.C. Garrett off the glass and in. And she's got 5 to make it 24-16. 53 seconds left. Missegatis at the Sidney offensive end to Jaggers on the right side. Cross-court pass to Wachter, who's checked into the Sidney lineup. Back to Ross, takes it into the corner. Right side looking. 37 seconds left. Jaggers between the circles, gets a high screen from Missegatis. Back to Ross, lob inside to Sylvester against Burke one more time. Nice defense by Burke. Save from going out of bounds to Sylvester. She can't convert. Tips and keeps it alive. J.C. Garrett with it. 21 seconds left. Garrett on the run out as the bounce pass to West doesn't go. And a foul at the Chadron offensive end. And the foul was on Jersey Missegatis. So Chadron will inbound her first, team's 5th. Inbounds pass comes to Garrett, free throw line extended. She'll launch from there, doesn't go. Rebound comes down with 7 seconds left. Morgan Jaggers with it into the offensive end. Here's Wachtel at the buzzer, off the mark, as Ferguson comes down with it, and that'll end the first half. We're at halftime here in Chadron, where your score is Chadron 24, Sidney 16 on the West Coast scoreboard.
At 21st Century Equipment, we're proud to introduce the new Build Your Own tool. Build the John Deere you've been wanting and see how affordable it really is. Visit 21stcenturyequipment.net to build your own compact utility tractor, mower, or gator. It's easy to add implements, attachments, and view financing options. Build the exact tractor for your needs at a price you can afford, all from the comfort and safety of home, with the new Build Your Own tool at 21stcenturyequipment.net.
Coverage of the 2020 Western Conference Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Prime Metal Products, Papa Murphy's, Farm Bureau Agent Sean Harvey, and by John's Body Shop.
Jeff Kelly back at Scottsbluff High School. We're at halftime as Chadron leads Sidney 24 to 16 is your score. As Chadron led at the end of the first quarter 15-7. But they lead here at halftime 24-16 is your score. Take a look at some of the individual scoring. First for the Sidney Lady Raiders. Carly Sylvester leading the way with 6 first half points. Reagan Stanley with 5. 3 points for Brenna Ross and 2 points at halftime for Gabby Fortner. Leading the way for the Chadron Lady Cardinals is Annika Burke, the 6'2 senior, with 9 points here at halftime. 5 points each for J.C. Garrett and Demi Ferguson, while Macy Daniels contributed 3 points and Abby Seymour with 2 here at halftime for Chadron. A halftime score from over in Gering on the boys' side. Scottsbluff leading Mitchell 32-15 is your score at halftime. Some other of our sponsors bringing these games to you on KNEB.TV include Prime Metal Products, Papa Murphy's, Farm Bureau, Sean Harvey, Shelter Insurance, Travis Hawk, Panhandle Co-op, Paul Reconstruction, Ideal Linen, Elite Physical Therapy, FBNO, Audrey Elliott Law, Northfield Retirement, and Western Nebraska Regional Airport. Some of the sponsors allowing us to bring these games to you on KNEB.TV. All 18 games of this Western Conference tournament will be brought to you on KNEB.TV, either Channel 15 or Channel 190. Of course, limited capacity, limited crowds, I should say. Only parents of players, or family members, I should say, of players are allowed into the gym on both sides of the gym here at Scottsbluff High School. And then the gym is cleared between games, and of course everything is sanitized as far as the team areas where the teams sit on the team benches, and the chairs are spread out. As you've probably seen if you watched any college basketball on TV, the chairs are not in a single file row. They're spread out, some in the front row and then some behind that, and that's what we've got here at Scottsbluff High School. We're at halftime as Chadron leading Sidney 24-16 on the West Coast scoreboard.
Exceptional care, right here at home. That's the mission of Morrill County Community Hospital. Morrill County Community Hospital is a 20-bed critical access hospital that owns and operates clinics throughout Bridgeport, including specialty outreach clinics and Morrill County Home Health Clinic, as well as Chimney Rock Medical Center, located in Bayard. Our dedicated team is committed to you and our community every time at Morrill County Community Hospital, Bridgeport, Nebraska.
Welcome to Kelly's, home of the Valley's best selection of wine, spirits, and beer. Whether you're brand loyal to the tried and true brew or really enjoy trying something different and new, Kelly's has something for everyone. Family owned and operated and right on your way on West 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Kelly's Liquor. If you can't find it at Kelly's, it's not worth drinking.
Welcome back to Scottsbluff High School at halftime, where Chadron leads Sidney 24-16. So the loser of this game will move over and play for third place against Gering tomorrow at noon. The winner will move on to the girls' championship game. It'll be at 2 o'clock tomorrow at Gering High School. Well, Russell's Automotive, your family-owned go-to for all your quality automotive repair needs. And Floyd's Truck Center, your commercial farm and feed truck center, representing Freightliner, Western Star, and Harsh. 322 South Beltline Highway East in Scottsbluff. So on the boys' side, the games that are going on today, one game in the books is Chadron defeated Sidney on the boys' side. 47-40 was the final score there, so Chadron moves on to play for third place and Sidney will play for 5th place. As we said, halftime score between Scottsbluff and Mitchell. Scottsbluff leads at 32-15. The final game of the day on the boys' side at 8 o'clock, it'll be Alliance and Gering. And our final game here tonight will pit Scottsbluff against Mitchell on the girls' side. Chadron coming back out on the floor. Here comes Sidney from the other end. And we will take another break and come back with the second half action. But at halftime, Chadron leading Sidney 24-16 on the West Coast scoreboard.
We do 2 pictures just like we've done in the past, one straight down and one from the side, but it's better in the fact that they're going to get called back less, there's greater accuracy, and it's a lot easier to find it in dense breasts. A woman should start getting their mammos at age 40 every year, and 1 in 8 people get breast cancer, so it's the best way to find it is early detection.
At Elite Physical Therapy, we provide preventative and rehabilitative treatments that maximize function and promote well-being for patients of all ages. With 2 locations in Scottsbluff and Gering, we offer the convenience of you choosing your location with the same great services no matter where you go. Stop into one of our locations today, in Scottsbluff at 214 West 27th Street or in Gering at 10th and M Street, and see what Elite Physical Therapy can do for you. Treatment you need and care you deserve.
Back here at Scottsbluff High School as we're winding things down here at halftime, getting ready for the second half, and Chadron leading Sidney 24-16 is our score. Nobody in double figures on either side for either one of these 2 teams here tonight, but last night Macy Daniels led the way for Chadron with 14 points as Carly Sylvester led the way for Sidney last night as she had 15 points in the win over Gering. 55-52 was the final score there. Chadron came away with a tough-fought 39-36 win over Mitchell in the first game that started this tournament here at Scottsbluff. Second half action to come, and let's take another break, and we'll come back with the start of the second half. 24-16, Chadron leads it on the West Coast scoreboard.
Coverage of the 2020 Western Conference Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Shelter Insurance Agent Travis Hawk, Panhandle Co-op, Paul Reed Construction, and by Ideal Linen.
For the past 44 years, Platte Valley Vacuum and Sewing has been serving the Wyobraska area. That's quite a long time. At Platte Valley Vac and Sew, you'll find quality sewing machines, quilting and embroidery machines, even sergers from name brands such as Pfaff and Babylock, both known for their well-made machinery. Keep in mind you'll receive one-on-one lessons with your machine purchase. Platte Valley Vac and Sew also offers a fine selection of 100% cotton quilting fabrics and a great selection of threads and notions to assist you in most any quilting or embroidery project you might have. For all your sewing machine quilting needs, stop by Platte Valley Vac and Sew, downtown Scottsbluff.
Welcome back to Scottsbluff, ready for second half action. And Chadron with a 24-16 lead over Sidney, and the Lady Raiders will have the ball to start this second half, third quarter, as they work from right to left. Jaggers with it, finds Sylvester. Sylvester to the free throw line. She'll take the jumper off the back iron. Missigatis runs it down for Chadron. Jaggers, Missigatis in the corner, looking inside for Sylvester, and she's fouled by Annika Burke. And Burke will pick up her first personal foul, and of course this Chadron team had another force inside in Olivia Reed, but she was the coach's daughter of the head coach at Chadron State College, who went on, moved on to take an assistant's job at University of Northern Colorado, so they lost Olivia Reed, but Annika Burke also one of those forces down low as Sidney misses the shot. And Chadron will come the other way as they work to the basket to our right. Ferguson kicks inside in the corner to Seymour. Burke quickly to Garrett. Garrett ball fake. Drives, dishes, pass intercepted by Ross. Ross on the run out, up the right side, off the glass, doesn't go. Rebound put back by Sylvester, doesn't go. Rebound tipped out into the hands of Ross, almost stolen away. Ball loose on the floor. Ross will run it down in the Chadron offensive end. Jaggers with it. Into the front court for the Sidney Lady Raiders in the black uniform, and an offensive foul called away from the ball. And the foul was on Jersey Misigata. She picks up her second. First team foul on the Lady Raiders. Chadron with the ball. Garrett, she'll take the three ball and drain it. J.C. Garrett with 8. 27-16. Both teams scoring 9 points in that second quarter. Sylvester with a 3, top of the key, too strong. Jaggers with the rebound, and she's tied up. And the alternating possession will give the ball to Chadron. And the line change for Sidney, partial line change. Sylvester will stay in, along with Jaggers. Sidney with the ball, Jaylee McCartney into the Chadron lineup. Gives it to Garrett. Garrett to the right wing. Inside they go to Ferguson. A reverse layup doesn't go for Ferguson. Jaggers comes down with the rebound. Sidney the other way, trailing 27-16. Quickly to Weiser. Drops it inside to Jaggers to Sylvester. The baseline jumper by Carly Sylvester. She has 8. 27-18. Chadron on top. Seymour goes down low inside to Burke, tipped away. Loose ball picked up by Ramsey. Long down court pass to Stanley. Stanley with it on the right side. Weiser looking. Here's Sylvester, pops out. Putting the ball on the floor against Burke. Back to Ramsey. Ramsey will take it left side. Stanley will launch. That's off the mark. Rebound. Ball knocked away from Jagger. She gets it right back. Shot doesn't go. Rebound tipped in the hands of Garrett, and Chadron will come the other way with 5:07 left in the third quarter. Garrett goes behind his back as Stanley got a hand in there. And an offensive foul called on Jaylee McCartney. That'll be her first. Daniels and Fuller checking in for Chadron. As we near the 5-minute mark. Ramsey brings into the offensive end for Sidney to Stanley, stripped away by Garrett. Daniels will hand it to Garrett, and she'll bring it to the offensive end for Chadron. Screen from Fuller. Garrett controlling. Sophia West into the ball game. She hands it to Garrett. Garrett drives, bounces down low to Annika Burke, and Burke lays it up and in. Annika Burke with 11. 29-18 at the Sidney offensive end. Fortner can't convert. And it's another Chadron ball, but it's stolen away by Stanley. And then Stanley fouled on her way to the basket by J.C. Garrett. And Garrett picks up her first personal, third team on Chadron. Sidney to inbound underneath their own basket. Ramsey with it. Cross court to Reagan Stanley in the corner to Riddle. And Riddle loses the handle and can't chase it down before it goes out of bounds. And a turnover right back to Chadron. 4:17 left here in the third quarter as Garrett fouled by Reagan Stanley. Gehring got the first win of the day here on day 2, 67-21 over Alliance in a game that saw a running clock. Of course, anytime the point differential 45 points or more, there's a running clock, and Reagan Stanley picking up 2 quick fouls. She gets another blocking foul called on her. Third team foul on Chadron. They get it. Chadron gets it inside to Burke, to Daniels for 3. As Fuller can't corral the rebound, it goes out of bounds as Stanley will sit down with those 2 personal fouls. Sidney with the ball. And only the second team foul on Sidney. They try to go inside to Fortner. And a runner by Emily Weiser, her first 2 points of the game, to make it 29-20. Chadron by 9. Daniels, left side, cut off there by Weiser. There's Annika Burke with it. To J.C. Garrett. Daniels on the drive, almost palmed the ball, nothing called. She's got it, they go inside to Burke. She's triple teamed. Kick it back outside to Fuller, and Fuller fouled on her way to the basket. Non-shooting foul, so Daniels will inbound. Foul was on Katie Ramsey, picks up her first. And now the third team foul on the Raiders. Chadron inbounds, almost thrown away as Garrett tried to run it down. And it will be Sidney ball. Lady Raiders will have it. Trailing 29-20 here with 3:18 left in the third quarter. Riddle loses the handle. Loose ball picked up by J.C. Garrett for Chadron. Quickly the other way as Nora Wickler into the ball game, along with Micah Fuller. Garrett loses the handle. Loose ball on the floor. And traveling called. And I believe they called that on Biesecker. She rolled on the floor on that loose ball. So it'll be Chadron ball underneath their own basket. Demi Ferguson with 2:59 left. They get the inbounds pass in to Ferguson, and she's called for traveling. And once again, the ball goes back over to the Lady Raiders. Third quarter action here from Scottsbluff High School. Weiser down low to Biesecker. Cross-court pass to Ramsey for 3. Too strong. J.C. Garrett comes down with the rebound. On the push, gets it center court. Steps behind the arc, but she had a foot on the line, missed it. Ferguson saves from going out of bounds into the hands of Katie Ramsey. Ramsey on the push ahead to Biesecker from the left side. Too strong. Ferguson comes down with the rebound for Chadron with 2:24 left in the third quarter. Chadron on top by 9. Here's Wickler with it. All have pass tip stolen away. Biesecker has it. She'll bring it to the offensive end to Ramsey. Inside they go to Sylvester. Free throw line as Weiser travels with it. And we'll give it back to Chadron as Annika Burke back in along with Abby Seymour and Jaylee McCartney. And checking in for Sidney will be Morgan Jaggers. Chadron leading it by 9, 29-20 here. Counted down in the third quarter. Ferguson to Seymour on the left wing, down low Burke, out on top McCartney, left side to Ferguson. Here's Burke, top of the key, has it tipped away by Sylvester into the hands of McCartney. Ferguson, they try to go inside to Ferguson. That's knocked away by Biesecker, and Jaggers has it with 1.5 minutes left. Jaggers on the right corner to Ferguson, takes it free throw line, puts up the shot off the mark. McCartney Down with the rebound as Sylvester and Burke get tangled up as they come up the floor. McCartney on the dribble. Ross will come out and pick her up. Continues on the dribble, and then Ross commits the foul on Jaylee McCartney. That'll be the first personal on Brenna Ross. That'll be first and the third team foul on Sidney. So Seymour will inbound, tosses backcourt to McCartney as we near the 1 minute mark here in the third quarter. And a pass saved from going out of bounds by Garrett as Ferguson with it to Burke. Burke will give it up, find Ferguson for a three from the left side. Off the mark, battle for the rebound between Burke and Sylvester. And it's knocked out of bounds. It'll be Sidney ball with 53 seconds left. Chadron leading by 9. Ross into the front court, left side. Finds Sylvester. Sylvester in the paint against Burke. Drives right side off the glass. Doesn't go. Rebound tipped out. McCartney tried to run it down in the corner. But it goes out of bounds. It'll be Chadron ball with 39 seconds left. Jersey Missigatus back into the Chadron lineup as the Cardinals set up full court pressure here. Quickly inbound comes to Garrett with 38 seconds left. Garrett picked up by Jaggers on the dribble left side. Has it knocked away, picks up her dribble, double team, but Seymour's there. Seymour to the left side, looking inside, they find Burke. And Burke fouled by Carly Sylvester. And Sylvester will pick up her second personal foul. And the 15 foul on Sidney as Fortner into the Sidney lineup. Seymour to trigger the inbound. Garrett, 21 seconds left. Burke, high post. To Seymour, three ball, right side, count it. Abby Seymour with 5. 32-20, 10 seconds left. Three ball off the mark by Chadron. Garrett with it, 5 seconds left. Still in the backcourt. Garrett has it partially blocked. She puts up a shot, but Sidney not able to recover, and that ends the third quarter. At the end of 3, it's Chadron 32, Sidney 20 on the West Coast scoreboard.
Who is Hydrotex? Hydrotex manufactures and distributes over 300 different high-performance lubricants, including fuel conditioners, hydraulic and transmission fluid, and more. We've been helping customers improve their operations for more than 80 years with products made in the USA. We sell directly to customers and can even deliver right to your door to offer excellent service and value. Our products are made to exceedingly extend drain and grease intervals to reduce maintenance and labor costs to improve the budget. Whether you're in a factory, farm fleet, or like to go fast, Hydrotex is here to help. Visit your local Hydrotex dealer in person or online today.
Coverage of the 2020 Western Conference Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Prime Metal Products. Papa Murphy's. Farm Bureau Agent Sean Harvey. And by John's Body Shop.
Jeff Kelly back here at Scottsbluff High School. Fourth quarter action between Chadron and Sidney, and it's a 12-point Chadron advantage here as we start the final 8 minutes of this game. So the winner will move on to play, well, we think for third place. They're saying either the loser of game 4 or 6 will move on to play Gehring tomorrow at noon. So we start the fourth quarter. Chadron with the ball. Here's J.C. Garrett on the dribble to Seymour in the corner. To Daniels inside, they go to Burke. Back outside to Garrett. Garrett pulls it out against Jaggers. Pass to pick up her dribble. Swarmed. Ferguson comes out. Give it up to Daniels. Back to Garrett on the right side. Garrett will put it on the floor. Bounce inside to Burke. And Burke turns and scores. Annika Burke with 13 points. 34-20. Chadron opening up a 14-point advantage. Here as we counted down the fourth quarter. Ross with a deep three off the mark. Rebound picked up. J.C. Garrett has it. Inside they go to Burke. High post. Daniels with a three off the mark. And a foul called on Sidney. And Annika Burke battling inside against Gabby Fortner as Carly Sylvester not in the game. And just as I say that, she comes back into the contest. Couple quick baskets for Annika Burke. And she'll step to the free throw line. As the foul was on Fortner, that's her second 7th foul on Sidney. As Burke drains the first one, she's got 14 points in the game. And she drains them both. 15 in the game. 36 points. High post, Burke, kick out, Daniels inside the arc, doesn't go. Rebound, run down by Stanley, who's checked into the Sidney lineup. Gets it ahead to Weiser. On the left side, high post, Misigatis drives left side of the basket, off the glass, doesn't go. But she was fouled on her way to the basket by Macy Daniels. She'll pick up her first personal foul. And that'll put Daniels Misigatis at the free throw line as she was fouled in the act of shooting. Off on the first one. Misigatis looking for her first points in the game. Abby Seymour back into the Chadron lineup. As Misigatis misses on both of them, but Sylvester there with the rebound. The shot blocked from behind by Ferguson. And that'll put Sylvester at the line. And let's double check on that. That was on Annika Burke. So that'll be the second on Annika, only the 15th foul on Chadron. Sylvester now with 11. Chadron outscoring Sidney 8-4 in that third quarter. As Carly Sylvester good on both of those free throws. 36-24 and a timeout on the floor. 36-24, Chadron leads it with 6:03 left in the third quarter on the West Coast scoreboard.
Home buying is filled with decisions. Neighborhood, floor plan, fenced yard. Make one choice that's easy. Start with FNBO first. We'll guide you home. Home buying is filled with decisions. Square feet, fixer-upper, room to grow. Make one choice that's easy. Start with FNBO first. We'll guide you home.
At Platte Valley Bank, we realize the way people want to bank in the future may be different than it has been. As comfort levels and desires vary by person, banking may be different for some, yet not for others. We offer the best of both worlds, a traditional banking experience with our friendly tellers and an online or mobile banking option with features that you can personalize and utilize anytime, anywhere you go. So you can bank how you want, when you want, and from where you want to. Platte Valley Bank.
Welcome back to Scottsbluff High School as we get back to action with 6:03 left. Chadron on top, 36-24. Lady Cardinals with the ball. Garrett on the dribble, out front. Burke, high post, back to Garrett. Gets a screen from Ferguson. Trying to get inside to Ferguson, not working there. So Burke will come out, hand it to Ferguson. Gets a screen from McCartney, right back to McCartney. McCartney with the jumper off the front iron. Garrett with the rebound, throws it up. It doesn't go in, but McCartney Garrett draws the foul. And she'll go to the free throw line to shoot two. That is the 18th foul on Sidney. as Missigatis with her third personal foul. And J.C. Garrett drains the first one. She had 5 points at halftime. Makes it 37-24. Second one on the way. J.C. Garrett good on both of those. 38-24. Garrett with 10 points. Katie Ramsey into the Sidney lineup. Ross high post. Sylvester spins into the paint, in and out against Burke. As Annika pulls down the rebound, and Chadron will come the other way as we near the 5-minute mark. Garrett ahead to Ferguson left side. She'll kick it out to Seymour for a 3-ball. Back iron rebound battled for. Last touched by Sidney. Keep it at the Chadron end. Seymour will inbound. Quickly into Ferguson against Sylvester. That's blocked. Outlet pass all the way down. Stanley has to save it from going out of bounds. Seymour right there to pick it up. Brings it front court with the left-handed dribble. To Garrett. There's Jaylee McCartney. Lob inside to Burke. Burke finds J.C. Garrett. They pulled Sylvester out from the basket. Back to Garrett to Ferguson. Drives and scores. Demi Ferguson with 7, her first points since the first quarter. Makes it 40-24. Ross tries to answer back and does with one off the glass. 40-26, a 14-point Chadron advantage. Pressure broken by Chadron. Garrett top of the key. Garrett looks at the three, doesn't take it. To Burke as they continue to try to pull Sylvester out from underneath the basket. 4 minutes left in the game. Garrett on the dribble against Ross, and Ross with the reach-in foul. That'll be the second on Ross. And a wholesale substitution on the Sidney side as Biesecker checks back in. 9th team foul on Sidney. And J.C. Garrett at the line. Annika Burke leading all scorers with 15 points. As Garrett can't connect on the free throw, and Biesecker brings it down for Sidney. She'll bring it center court, top of the key. Weiser with it. Cross court to Jaggers. Jaggers starts a drive, gives it up to Reese Riddle. Riddle spins baseline against Burke, puts up a shot that doesn't go. And Chadron will come down with it. And a high pass, but Burke corrals it. Into the hands of McCartney. Look inside to Ferguson. Kick out to Garrett. Chadron going to run some time. 3:24 left. Daniels with it. Garrett pops out. Here's Garrett trying to avoid the double team. They get it to Daniels on the right side. Bounce on top, Garrett. And a bounce pass intended for McCartney, stolen away by Weiser. On the run out to the basket, doesn't go. No foul called. His body's on the floor. And that'll bring Aaliyah Wachtel into the game. And here comes Abby Seymour back in for Jaylee McCartney on the Chadron side. So Sidney will inbound with 3 minutes, 2 seconds left. Out on top, Weiser, quick trigger on the three off the front iron. Burke corrals it. And here comes Chadron with 2:53 left in the game, leading 40-26. Garrett continues with the dribble out front. And then Daniels fouled by Reese Riddle. And that'll put Macy Daniels at the free throw line to shoot 2, as that is the 10th team foul on Sidney. So the double bonus for the final 2:43 of this one for Chadron. And Daniels drains the first one. for her 5th point of the game. It's 41-26. And make it 42-26 as both free throws good. As Jaggers tries to drive, ball knocked away from her. Chadron will pick up the loose ball. Garrett, pressure by Sidney in the backcourt. They get it ahead. She just gets it across. Daniels with it, double teamed in the right corner, knocked away, stolen by Riddle. Riddle quickly up the floor, drives right side, cut off. She'll find Weezer, right side outside. Katie Ramsey with it. On the dribble, tries to go behind her back, knocked away, loose ball picked up. Riddle drives into the paint against a double team as Seymour goes to the floor. Reese Riddle draws the foul. She'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2. Abby Seymour with her first personal foul with 2 minutes, 4 seconds left. Only the 16 foul on Chadron. Reese Riddle, first one off the mark, no good. Riddle looking for her first points of the game. McCartney in for Sidney. And Fortner in, or for Chadron, and Fortner in for Sidney. And Reese Riddle gets into the scorebook with her first points of the game. 42-27, 2 minutes left in the game. Garrett into the offensive end for Chadron. Picked up there by Weezer. She'll hand it to McCartney to Seymour. Seymour looking back to Garrett. Swarming defense by Sidney is a thrown away. Intended for McCartney. Picked up there by Wachtel. 90 seconds left in the game. They go down low, and the ball stolen away. And a held ball called, and the possession arrow will keep it at the Sidney end. Seymour checks out. Daniels in for Chadron. Reagan Stanley with the inbounds pass. To Fortner. Cross-court pass back to Stanley. Here's Ramsey with it for a 3, and Ramsey drains a 3. Ramsey into the scorebook. 42-30, and an offensive foul called on Chadron with 1:15 left in the game. And the foul was on Demi Ferguson. That'll be her second. So the ball will remain at the Chadron end here with 1:15 left. Inbounds pass comes to Weezer. They work it to the top of the key to Stanley. Back to Katie Ramsey. Here's Wachtel with a 3. That's off the mark as Burke comes down with the rebound. And Burke fouled on the rebound by Fortner. So we walk to the Chadron end where Annika Burke will shoot free throws with 1:06 left in the game. Burke tonight, 15 points, make it 16. And a 13-point Chadron lead. Abby Seymour into the game. 9 points for Annika Burke at halftime. And 7 so far here in this second half, and make it 8 as she has 17. 44-30. 1 minute left in the game. Weezer cross-court pass. Wachtel looks at 3 now. She'll take it off the glass. Rebound loose on the floor. Nobody can find the handle. Finally, Garrett runs it down in the corner. And a held ball will give the ball on the alternating possession to Chadron with 47 seconds left. Ferguson has it in the backcourt. Here's Daniels with it. Double team thrown away. Stanley picks up the loose ball. Can't make the layup, but Ferguson comes the other way with it. 34 seconds left. Garrett quickly up the floor. Picks up her dribble. She avoids the double team. Here's Seymour. Daniels back to Ferguson. They'll play catch with it. Burke has it tipped away, but it'll stay at the Chadron end. So Chadron will move on. They are undefeated in this tournament as they come in at 2-0. Burke hounded out on top by Fortner. 17 seconds left. The hand on the ball at Garrett. Picked up by Stanley. Macy Daniels with it. To Garrett on the dribble. 6 seconds left. Here's Daniels. And Chadron looking to run out the clock, and they will move on as they defeat Sidney by a score of 44-30. So Chadron remains undefeated. Sidney drops to 1-1. We'll come back, recap the individual scoring. But Chadron gets the win here, 44-30 on the West Coast scoreboard.
The holidays are a time to connect with family, with friends, with each other. After a busy year, the holidays are the perfect time for laughing together, playing together, talking together, and celebrating together. Spend time this holiday season connecting with the people that mean the world to you, and let Allo take care of the connectivity.
Hi, I'm Michelle Perkins of Remax Regency. After branching out, I've returned home to my roots, to the land from which I came and my family has held for 5 generations.
Michelle truly understands what home means and treats you like family as she guides you through the buying and selling process, bringing the latest pricing tools that are not currently being used in this area to sell your home at the highest price in the least amount of time, and to ensure that you do not overpay when buying.
So just give me a call, kick back, Remax, and settle down.
Back at Scottsbluff High School, the second game of the day in the books, and it goes to the Chadron High Lady Cardinals as they defeat Sidney 44-30 to move on to tomorrow's championship game on the girls' side, and they will take on the winner of Scottsbluff and Mitchell, the game that will get underway here in a little bit. Let's take a look at the final scoring totals for Sidney. Led the way Carly Sylvester with 12 points. 5 points each for Reagan Stanley and Brenna Ross. 3 points for Katie Ramsey. 2 points each for Gabby Fortner and Emily Weiser. And 1 point for Reese Riddle. 2 players in double figures on the Chadron side, led by Annika Burke with 17 points in the game. JC Garrett chips in 10. Demi Ferguson with 7. Macy Daniels with 6. And Abby Seymour with 5 for the winning Chadron High Lady Cardinals, who will move on to tomorrow's Western Conference Tournament Championship girls game. It'll be 2 o'clock at Gehring High School. So that'll wrap things up here in Game 2 as Chadron defeats Sidney. And we'll take a break, and we will come back with the final game of the day, Scottsbluff and Mitchell. So stay with us, and we'll be back in a short while.
Come back for more.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights.